All right, we have a special Metal Monday. We got Phil Matteson.
Yes, sir.
Phil Matteson from Modern Recycling out of Victor, Montana. Thanks for joining us today, man.
Thank you for having me.
And Brett, always a pleasure.
Always. I feel like we've done this once or twice before.
Dude, I looked
But I always love.
We've done them a lot. I don't remember the number, but we've done a lot of them.
Well, one thing I enjoy, like, I mean, I know we weren't talking about like putting you on here, but I'm like, hey, you're here, like, let's go, let's figure it out. Yeah. But I think that's like the joy of doing business the way that we do it is you just get to do it the way you want, right? So, real quick, give everybody like a quick like Cliff Notes version of your company.
So, Modern Recycling, we're based out of Victor, Montana, which is about 40 miles south of Missoula. We started in 2014. We've now grown and are working on our second yard in Missoula, Montana, doing dirt work right now. It's me and my partner, Justin Quist, are the owners. It was more his brainchild, but we've been growing and loving the scrap industry. It's a lot of fun, and we're looking to make moves and do new things.
Dude, I've been seeing that scraper you've been posted on LinkedIn is, and just for everybody's like, how do we get connected? Like LinkedIn, right?
LinkedIn.
I mean, so the power of social media. And I've been seeing that scraper making passes, right? Like mowing a big lawn, like just like creating space, creating for your guys' newest yard, right? Which is going to be in Missoula.
Which is in Missoula, yeah. We got to move 60,000 yards of material. We're up on a hillside, and we're kind of flattening it out.
Flatten it out.
Yeah, we're going to drop 15 feet off the top.
Nice.
So
when's
it'll be a sweet yard.
When's the open date?
We're hoping for end of summer. You know, I mean, we don't have a firm date because we're just working our way through.
Yeah. If it's like anything, right? Like you get as much done as you can get done, and you have a kind of an idea of when you'd like to open, but sometimes the weather gods mess with you on the dirt work, and sometimes it's just, it just is what it is. You're just, try and get it done as you can get it done.
Sometimes you got to open it before it's perfect. If you wait for perfect, it just ain't never going to happen.
Just run with it.
I just read this book where it was talking about the new first iPhone. They pushed that thing out with half the shit that they wanted it to have in it, just didn't have it. And Steve Jobs is like such a perfectionist. They still pushed it out, even though he's like, I just have to push it out, and then we'll fix it as we go.
As it goes.
So, and I think that's true, not just in the scrap industry, but in so many
And,
facets.
One of our good friends, his name is Jake Bronstein, and he built a basically greenfield that'll hold a brand new yard in Merrillville, Indiana, and he opened in March of fucking COVID. Mm-hmm. Like he had been building for 2 years. Finally, knew he was going to open it. It was March of 2020, and he's like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Open." Like that's all you can do. Like, what are you going to do? Just wait until it go. Like you just got to go. Like,
now he's got 2 yards.
Now he has 2.
And we met him on
right?
And we met him on LinkedIn.
Did you really?
Yep.
100%. Which is why we do this, right? Like, dude, I don't know everything about scrap. I probably know like half the shit I should know, and but I do know the power of like getting people together, like with that have a love for a certain thing, and whether it's business or scrap or both or whatever, and trying to like pick each other's brains and say, how do we make each other better? How can you help me? How can I help you? And what you're doing in Victor or Missoula isn't going to take away from what I'm doing here. If I can teach you something, then maybe someday you'll teach me something, and we'll all be better for it.
Yeah, I really appreciate the openness that you both have and you've shared. I found you in 2020. I had just bought a brand new truck in 2019 semi, and had a great driver, and he got hurt. And so, what do? Well, you get in the seat and you drive truck. Yeah. So I was sitting there driving truck. Hey, 6 months before this, I managed the Western U.S. for Halliburton, and I'm sitting in this seat, right, going, what am I doing? But I got your podcast, so I just sit there and just devoured the whole thing, right? Because I had nothing but time to sit in that seat and drive truck. So, it was a good education, and it just taught me a lot of things. So I appreciate you guys.
I love it. So tell us about the scrap. What's going on with the scrap market in Montana? You don't have to give us hard numbers.
Well, and also I got a question.
Tell us whatever you want. Go ahead, Nick.
I got a question. Your yard and yourself, how do you guys keep track of where the markets are going? How do you do it? I'm just curious on how other yards. Do you just open your phone, check the apps?
check the apps, call the mills, see what
Okay.
they're saying, get their
Okay.
pulse. We've got a few different buyers out there that we watch, and then just watch the price of the ticker each day.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, there's only so much prediction you're going to be able to do anyway.
Yeah.
When we started, we made an agreement. We said, look, we're not going to try to gamble the market. Just move the scrap.
Yeah.
Like, just move it, take your margin, and go.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Take
that's
your
the way
lumps.
we live. And we try to keep our prices, our buy prices safe enough to where if it has some minor fluctuations, we're okay.
Yeah.
But just move the scrap.
At the beginning, like I always I look at it two ways. Is if you could predict the market, you wouldn't own a scrapyard. You'd be sitting somewhere on a couch and like just betting futures because you'd already know where it was going to go. So, but I do think that. So I have I agree with you. When you're trying to build a business, and especially in the commodities business, which can be volatile, is you have to move the scrap at the beginning because cash flow is so important.
Yeah.
When it all comes back down to like when people ask me what's one of the most important things about building the scrap business, recycling business, is managing your cash flow, because you have a big cash outlay for material, you have big cash outlays for equipment, buying equipment, and you've got big cash outlay for your labor and everything that just keeps the lights on. So, so if you've got a crazy amount of inventory just sitting around as well, especially at today's interest rates, then all of a sudden, like you're in a quandary. Like you've got to manage the material, right?
Yeah.
Now you build your business instead of, I always say once you have a certain amount of money and you can park some scrap on the sideline and wait for a better price because you feel like you're going to get more interest on that scrap in a down market, then you're in a position to do that. Great, do it. Run it the way you want to run it, right? But in the build phase, you have to turn that shit. Like you have to make it go away. Whatever that price is, make your margin and move. And sometimes lose your margin. Like sometimes you buy scrap and you're like, I'm going to make some money on this. The market takes a shit. You're going to lose 5%, 10%. You're still better to lose 5%, 10%, get your
30.
money back, because then that's what's going to allow you to make the next deal to maybe get that 5, 10, 20 back.
Yeah, it's still flying out the door every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're paying it out every day. You better go get some of that back so you can keep buying.
100%.
You gotta have money to buy.
Yep, you have to have money to buy scrap. You have to have money to, pay your people and kind of keep the wheels on the bus. So, I don't know. I firmly believe that turning your scrap, especially in the beginning. Now, we've told this story before, like at this yard. We put this yard in 2011. I always thought we could carry a decent amount of non-ferrous until we had a 40,000 square foot building and 6 acres. All of a sudden, I'm like, fuck, we could carry a lot of not. But I'm like, we were choking on just trying to get enough inventory and keep it to make full loads. I'm like, our freaking, cash outlay to keep scrap around and build full loads was just like,
Took some growing pains.
oh, it took years. Like, I literally took years to get to the point where you could actually stomach the market. I mean, I'm going to say like 4 to 5 years to where you could actually carry enough inventory and feel good about it to build full loads.
And our flow just wasn't big enough. I mean, it took a long time for people to realize we were here, get new customers, get new big customers, and then we finally get that flow where we can build full loads. And then, we try to pay as competitive as we can. We're being safe, too, to not jeopardize our business. Because one thing that's comforting to me, I've made my fair share of bad buys. And Brett's the one who told me, like, you know what? Like, move on, because you get a chance tomorrow to make a good buy. So that is, like, comforting, because that shit sucks when you buy, like, a load or you commit to it and then it comes in, the market dropped 20 cents.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Go back on your word, or you're going to eat it and move on to the next one? And
Sit around and cry about it and go get it back somehow, right?
So, question for both of you guys. Where's Ferris going? What's your gut say?
Oh, I feel pretty good it's going down. I mean, I don't know how much, but I don't feel like we're not going, like June isn't going to be a strong market, ferrous-wise.
We'll be off 20, 30, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, it's maybe in the cards. I don't know. What's your opinion, Phil?
I mean, if you made me guess a number, I'd say we're going to go down 20, but I don't know that either. I mean, it's hard to say, but
It's hard to tell. And things can change on a dime. That's like what you said. It's it's hard to get too invested in looking forward when it doesn't matter too much. It's nice to be prepared and give your customers like a warning, because that's what I'll do is like, hey, I think it's going off.
Yeah.
So then you communicate that, and they know. And then if you're like, hey man, like this changed and we're sideways.
They
then
solved
you're
the
winning.
debt ceiling tonight,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden
They made a $1 trillion Bitcoin that fucking out of thin air. That makes a lot of sense.
It's game on again. But I don't know. I feel like that's a when buy the rumor, sell the news type deal. I feel like if they do solve that, it's just going to create a bunch of other headaches.
It might be a temporary fix,
But going back to what you just said, if you just move the scrap, it is what it is. Which then goes back into what we were just talking about, like how do you move the scrap, right? So let's say you have a decent month where you can buy a decent jag of scrap, regardless of the price, right? Like in our area, and I'm assuming yours is similar, is we're probably as much weather driven as anything.
Yeah.
Like people are just digging out a winter.
Yeah.
And it was kind of rough, long winter this year, just nasty. So you're getting more flow regardless of the price. Just generally, it just picks up because people are able to do shit.
Yeah.
And the fields aren't muddy and whatever else the case may be.
And we're still getting a lot of buildings going up here. So I just got a call this morning from a guy out of back east somewhere, and he needs a container because they're taking down an old building and putting a new one up.
Nice.
He didn't care about the number. He needs it moved, and I'm still gonna give him a good number.
Yeah.
But the capability, of course, he wanted the container, today, and I was like, I'll get it there tomorrow. If you could give me a day, I'll make it happen. So if you can get your service done, and then you give him a fair price where he gets his job done, and we make a little money.
You also, and I think that your ability to control your delivery of your scrap, right, is what I was alluding to, so that if the market does come and you do get an abundance amount of material, your ability to deliver to that same market is how you can really keep your margins in place the best you can, is figuring that component out, controlling your transportation. Do you guys, you talk about you had a truck, you're driving truck, so I'd assume trucking is a pretty big part of what you guys do, right?
It's been a big part. I think last year, and the year before, we were really blessed to have some trucks because it was really hard to move. This year, we've been brokering a lot of trucks too. It's been a little easier to get outside trucking right now, but I never want to let go of having the ability to move my own material. I don't mind having the flex and running other trucks. I think that's
we do
good
the
to
same
have,
thing.
yeah.
We'll run some lanes we don't run.
Yeah.
We'll run some guys out, but we try and control as much of it as we can internally. I think you're smart in that regard. Is that you understand the value of saying, okay, I need to kind of control at least a certain amount of it, on a larger percentage basis if possible.
Yeah. I got another truck coming, and my gosh, the amount trucks have gone up in the last 3 years.
What kind of truck do you buy?
389. I only run hooded trucks.
Yeah.
I got my best friend growing up, they all ran hooded trucks, and I just got into that. So
you guys got the big 4-axle, you guys go heavy?
Yeah, maxi. Yeah. 8 axles all around.
Yep.
And try to run as much weight as we can. We don't run that lift axle quite as far forward as you guys do. We kind of run more of a stock maxi setup.
Yeah.
But, I've looked at those and thought that's pretty interesting. You guys get a few more 1,000 pounds that way.
Yeah, and that's kudos to Barry Prescott on our end. He's a truck guy. I always call him a truck guru. We'll meet him today. Hopefully, if he's around there, I think he is. But he's the one that kind of designed where to put that lift axle to get as much weight as possible and kind of get it all figured out. And that dude's a smart guy. He knows his shit, and that's why.
Barry's hands on. I'll go try to find Barry in his office, and he's never in there. He's got coveralls on, and he's covered in grease because he's just with his guys working on shit.
Yeah.
Which, kudos to him.
Yeah.
All right, Metal Monday. It's a wrap. Ferrous market's not looking as pretty as we would like to think.
Non-ferrous recovered on Friday. On Friday, it recovered a little. Today, we're off again, kind of where we started. And, that copper's, that 370 range. I don't know if we're going to get to 4, this month,
I'm gonna lose another fucking bet.
You're going to lose a bet.
Story of my life. That's why
Yep.
I don't gamble as
Yep.
much anymore. I got
As
figured
much
out I'm
is
not
the
good at-
big
as much.
My wife always asks me because I watch all the basketball games. God, did you bet on this one? And I didn't on this round, sweetheart. I promise.
You're a Celtics fan, right?
Hell no. I'm a LeBron fan.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
We're about to.
I've got two guys here, like Buxton and Tom. They're both Celtics fans, and dude, just watching old fucking Jimmy Buckets get after it.
I love it.
Yeah.
If LeBron can't pull off a miracle, which I doubt he does, I'm going Jimmy Buckets all the way.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.